afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Walnut Lodge's Foundations Intensive Part 2. This is week 2, day 4. So we're at the end of the week. I see Babs and Amelia, Millie and Patty. Glad you guys are here. I'm feeling a little sore in my shoulders, just a bit. So we've been doing a lot of arm work. Today we're going to switch back to the leg work, back to squats and forward bends. 2 more weeks to go. Today you're going to need a block, a strap, and a bolster. But I'd like to say though, I mean, it's the end of February, and these intensives have really made, for me, the time go fast. I mean, I know it's just an hour every day, but you know, you see progress. I get to figure out things. So thank you all for being a part of this, because I wouldn't be here talking to myself if you weren't here. All right. So, bolster, block, strap. Some of us might not need a bolster. I'm kind of up in the air about the bolster for some things. So, you know, if you don't have one, don't worry about it. The other thing is that we will repeat the wall sit today, and so you'll need to go to a wall. I think that's it. All right. So, coming to sitting. Nice and tall. Just feel that centering of yourself. A couple nice big inhales. Feel the quad stretch if you have one going on. And then just come forward for table. Hand stretch. Nice wide fingers. Walk them back. And get to that place where you want to work. Feel your shoulders pushing forward. So hopefully yesterday when we were doing the planks in the warm-up, you know, you felt this forward position. So always try to go for the feeling of the shoulders, you know, over the wrists, the shoulders over the fingers, if you know, if you're that far forward. And like I said, I gauge this by what my wrists feel like. And that's really all you have to go on. Sometimes it's nice to feel it and then look in a mirror so that you know, you can see where you are. All right, now push your fingertips and release. And push your fingertips and release. And press those fingertips into the mat and release. Or you could think of trying to dig the fingers through the mat to the floor and release. And pull and release. One more. Pull, don't release, push forward, make sure your elbows are straight, and then stay there. You know, so I can always feel that right thumb, but what's happening to me as we go through this, you know, every day, I feel my thumb releasing a lot quicker. I still feel a little bit of pulling in there. And it's almost gone. And tuck the toes and sit back on your feet. Roll your wrists. Both ways. Feel your feet and just think, boots are coming off. Boots are coming off. We'll be in sandals soon, right? All right. Fingertips towards you. I really like my boots, but you know, having your feet in those contraptions or heavy shoes all winter doesn't really make them that happy. All right, spread the fingers, bend the elbows, pull the heels of the hands off the ground, and then press all of your knuckles into the floor and feel that lower arm. Breathe. And release that back. Roll the wrists. Both ways. Cool. All right, hands forward. Straight out from the shoulders. Feel the crease at the hip socket. Now we're just going to wake up the back. Pull that tailbone underneath. Pull your belly up. Come up to table and reach the sit bones back and fold. Feel the tailbone. Pull that lower stomach. Suck that way up into your stomach. And then release and fold. Pull the tailbone. Feel the curve of the back. Change the curve to the fold. Exhale, pull up, inhale, sit back. Exhale, pull up, inhale, chest reach. Exhale, pull, inhale, reach. Exhale. Pull. Inhale. Reach. Exhale. Pull. Inhale. Reach. Exhale. Pull. Inhale. Couple more. Exhale. Pull. Inhale. Reach. Exhale. Pull. Inhale. Reach. Stay there. Okay, going to the second part of this warm-up. First time we're going to do it on our elbows. I'm only going to do that today once. And then for people that want to stay in that position because of their hands, you just stay there. So we're going to pull our tailbone, slide out, and we're in the half plank. So feel that. Then take that tailbone, change the angle, pull back, tuck your toes. Elbows stay down, or elbows go back down. Press to dolphin. Tuck your tailbone, walk out. So it takes a little bit longer to do this variation. Then push the sit bones back up. And we'll all just stay here. Feel that nice stretch through the armpit. I could use a little bit more of that. And knees down. Actually, I'm going to do one more. All right, so pulling the pubic bone, out you go. Keep that lift. Then push back, sit bones tuck under, pull back, elbows back down, press the sit bones up to dolphin. Press your heels, and then we're going to pull the tailbone lower to the full plank. and then lift it up, push back again, feel the armpits, and come down. Stretch the hands out if you're going onto your hands, and we go. Inhale, go out, and down, push, up, tuck the toes, sit bones back, and down dog. Pull the tailbone, and out, push, up, balls of the feet really high, bend the knees, and down. Pull the tailbone, out and down. Push, up, tuck, under, and go back. Pull the tailbone, and go out. Lift, up, bend the knees, and come down. Pull the tailbone, and go down. Push, up, tuck the toes, and press back. Pull the tailbone, out you go. Lift, way up, knees bend, come down. Pull the tailbone, and go down. Press, up, tuck the toes, and go back. Pull the tailbone, and stay there. Side arm balance, and reach. Up. We'll stay here a couple of breaths, because I just sprung that on you. So if you're on your elbow, same thing. Now lift up through the center, plank, roll. Other side, whoa, and push up. Push up. And roll center. Gonna walk out a bit. Tailbone lift. And come back. One more. And pull out. And go down. Push. Up, tuck the toes. And go back. Pull your tailbone and go out. Roll to the right arm and push up. Roll to center. Feel the plank. Roll to the left side and push up. Roll back center. Downward dog. Pull the knees, and one more. Pull the tailbone, and go down. Push back up, tuck the toes, downward dog. Pull the tailbone, and go out. Roll to the right, and push up. Lift your belly, roll back center. Roll to the left and push up. Pull your belly and roll back. Press back, knees down, and sit back. Breathe. Just feel the whole thing settle. I like the transitions from plank to side plank. My left side was not very good today. You know, there was some kind of push I was missing in that line of action. So that's one of the things that is good about kind of doing the transitions. Holding, of course, builds strength. And I could tell when we got up into those planks and the side plank, you know, that my shoulders were a little tired today. So I think that's going to be it for for that. Now we're gonna change gears and we're gonna go to the wall sit. But before we do that, just tuck the toes, press down dog, keep the knees bent. So it's not really a down dog. And then press through your right calf, pull the quad up, look at your knee. See that line from the kneecap to your hip socket? Go all the way up, so that quad is working. Push from your fingers. You know, that line is, you know, it's not totally stretched out, but we definitely worked it. Shift, push that heel, pull that left quad up. And my left calf was way tighter than my right, so that's probably why that side bounce wasn't so great. The roll wasn't so great to that left side. And then come to both feet, then bend your knees, walk your hands back. And then we're going to roll up. So put your hands on your knees, drop your tailbone, keep your chin in your chest. Now pull your belly up along the front of your spine and just let your spine uncurl. It feels good, that, the rolling up and down of the spine. You don't want to do that weighted. You don't have weights doing that. But, you know, that's a really nice stretch up and down the spine. It's also nice coordination. All right, so going to your wall. I'm going to try for 130 today. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I guess we'll see. So back against the wall. Walk your feet out. Slide on down, knees across from your hip sockets. Push into the wall. And just enjoy yourself, right? It's nice to keep your stomach lifted, although you don't have to. Just always kind of working that line upward. Feel the quads working. You can't not feel the quads working, really. You're trying to be at that nice 90-degree angle. And we're already at 30 seconds. How about that? Keep pushing into your feet. Now as you look down, try to make sure that your knees are in line with your hip sockets. And then your knees should be just past your toes. Usually that's how you can tell if you're at a 90. We just passed 45. Keep pushing. And we're at 1 minute. Keep pushing into your feet. There's 1:15. I think I'm going to make 1.5 minutes. Keep pushing. Now remember, if you can, at the end of this, we're just going to slide right down the wall into a nice squat. And there's 1.5 minutes. And we're just sliding down and letting that relax. Just breathe. It's a simple thing, but I'm finding that it's a nice little precursor to the squat stuff that we're going to do. Because with this squat stuff, we're really looking at the inside and the outside of the thighs. Right now, we were just really focusing on the quads. All right, so release yourself from that, and we're gonna need our block and our strap. So we'll use the block first. Come on up to standing. So I'm a big fan of this block because it really, really helps the inside-outside balance of the hip and thigh. And I might need a little drink before I start. The sunshine is making me thirsty. All right, so taking the block, putting it above the knees, right? Squeezing in. Feel your hips, your knees, and your feet in a nice straight line. Usually this block is good for everybody because that's about 4 inches. So when you're looking at your feet being under your hip sockets, 4 inches is, pretty average for people. If you're real tiny, then maybe you're not making that. Or if you're a really large person, then maybe this is just a little too narrow. But it's pretty good for most people. All right, so we're going to lift our chest, bend the knees just a little bit, squeeze that block, and then you're going to push the sit bones back and fold. Now, what's the difference between how I start a forward bend and how I go into these squats? The answer is there is no difference. So we're pulling our sit bones back. The difference really is that on these, we're going to keep going down. We're never going to let this lower line be past the horizontal, but we're just going to keep folding, squeezing the block. And as you squeeze the block, you feel that lower back kind of changing and shifting open. And then as you keep squeezing, you can pull your sit bones back and reach your chest forward. I just have my hands resting here on my knees. I can feel my shoulder blades pulling back. Keep breathing, folding. So I'm just about there at horizontal. We got just 5 seconds to go. So what we're going to do is put the hands down, let the block go, and stretch up. If you need the block, put your hands on the block. Your hips need to be over your ankles. Now pull your knees up so that you feel your quads tugging on the front of your pelvis. So now what we're really doing is we're looking for that forward bend line, right? And then creep your knees and feet together. That'll make it a little harder. Roll your thighs in. So from the tops of your hips, the best way to feel this is put your feet together and then open your heels so that your legs are rotated inward. Now this is pretty hard for me, but it really helps. Pull the quads up and then keep trying to rotate and squeeze the thighs together. And usually what you feel is a little bit more stretch in this part of your hip, the top, it's kind of where your sit bone, where your low back comes down to this is your trochanter head. Keep squeezing in. Pulling the quads up. We're not doing anything with your back. Actually, I'd just like you to look at your legs here. And when they drop down, when your knees drop, if they drop, pull them back up. Just feel that rotation inward. Now if we stay here for a nice long period of time, if you keep rolling in, you start to feel the hips change. Couple more breaths. All right, release the heels back to that neutral position. Bend the knees. Walk your hands back. Hands on your thighs. Now, reach your chest forward. Feel it go forward. We didn't do any back extensions, so I don't have that nice feeling in my upper back. But we're going to fix that here in 2 seconds. All right, so you're going to unfold yourself, lift the chest up, straighten the legs, come to standing. All right, now grab your strap. So we're going to do just a little bit of chest opening so that when we come up from those squats, you can feel your upper back really lift. I mean, maybe you were feeling that, but mine felt a little stiff this morning. All right, so you're making a loop, and it's shoulder width. A little bit more. So this upper back and the back extension is all part of the forward bend. Because the more we can keep the spine extended, the more load in terms of weight we can put on that hamstring glute line. And that's what we want to use to pull ourselves into this forward bend. We don't want to collapse our spine and pull ourselves over. We want to hit a position, relax the hip sockets, and let gravity pull us down. It's very safe. The low back stays open, and you get a true working length. All right, so put your hands in your strap. And just start by pushing out on the strap, roll the shoulders back. Feel the front of your chest and release. And we do that again. Push out on the strap, roll them back, and release. Yep, a little stiff this morning. But, that's what happens when we go to new places. And one more time. Push out, roll the shoulders back. Now just stay here and breathe your ribs forward and up right from here. Right? Feel your shoulder blades going down. Feel the chest lifting up. Feel the shoulder blades go down just a little bit more, then take the arms up, pull them back behind your ears, and we're going to push out. Inhale, push out. Exhale, release down. Again, inhale, push out. Exhale, let the shoulder blades kind of just drop down a bit. Again, inhale, push out on the strap. Exhale. Inhale, push out. Exhale, one more. Feel your feet push all the way to your hands. Inhale, push out. Shoulders down. Now, we're going to add something here. You can let your arms come back towards your ears if they were back. Now you're going to pull your arms to the right. You're going to bend your left elbow. Go back a little bit. And you're going to pull it behind your head as best as you can. All right, so I would love to have my elbow right above my head. It's not going to get there because my arm is too tight. Also, my arm is now trying to push my head forward. But I'm going to take my head and push it back into my arm so my arm goes back to that vertical position. And you can feel the stretch in your shoulder. Some of you probably don't need this. But this arm, the right arm, is just kind of holding the position of the strap. And we're going to relax the inside aspect of that shoulder and just let it drop down a bit. It feels good after all that arm work this week. So you feel your fingers of your right hand coming down. They touch your shoulder. Try to reach them back towards your shoulder blade. Couple more breaths here. And then you're going to push your right arm to the side. Stretch that left arm up. All right. And then we're going to go to the other side. Actually, I'm going to come down on my knees. I think we'll be able to see this a little better. All right, so we're going to take our hands, push them to the left. That right arm's going to come behind your head, and then just use your left arm to pull down. So my elbow's not totally behind my head and centered. That's where you'd like it to be. You know, mine isn't going to get there today. So get the best position you can. Take the back of your head, push it onto your arm. You can feel your armpits stretch, and then relax that shoulder blade down. Just let it adjust. And remember, I'm only down on my knees so that you could see the position of my elbow. So this is the top half of the cow's head arms. And I just threw this in here because, you know, I could, like I said, I felt my shoulders were a little sore today. All right. Now reach your left arm out, take your arms up, and then just release them down. Relax your shoulders. And we're going to do one more. So take your strap behind your back, or you can interlace your fingers and stretch your arm to straight. All right, so I'm going to push out on my strap. I'm going to roll my shoulders back. And I'm focusing on my sternum. So I'm inhaling, pushing my shoulder blades down through my hands, and then breathing that chest forward. And then exhale, I'm pulling my stomach up. Just trying to get my chest open and up. Right? There we go. It's feeling good. Feel the collarbones reach to the side. You can look to the high corner of the room. Push it up. Couple more. Push it up. Inhale. Last one. Push it up. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze together. Push them down. And release. Take your arms out of the strap if you have them in there. Roll your shoulders. Feels pretty good. Okay, so why we did that is so that we could feel a little bit more extension through our upper back as we go into these squats and then into the forward bends. All right, now on this second round, we're going to use our strap around our legs. So what I talked about on Tuesday was using the block and the strap help you feel the inner and the outer thighs. We want to use both parts of our thigh, but we have to figure out first that they're there, and then some of us will need to do one more than the other based on kind of what your sacrum is like. And how do you know that? Well, actually, if one feels better than the other at this point, that's the one that you'd like to focus on. But what we're going to do today is we're going to push out on the strap, and then we're going to pull our inner thighs and pull ourselves a little bit in off of that. So we're going to get both. So put that strap around your legs, knees together at first, and make it pretty tight. All right. So when we're standing, our thighs are always trying to rotate a little bit to the inside because we're trying to stretch our tendency to rotate the legs out. That's part of our natural gait. Usually that rotated out position, you know, is a reflection of things going wrong in your hips, or things being tight rather, not wrong, unless you're a ballet dancer, you know, and then it's an overuse thing. All right, so then push out against your strap. I have to open my feet a good 4 inches. And now I'm pushing out on my strap. So basically it's just tight. And then push out just a little bit more. And then we're going to fold. But before we fold, find your upper back. Shoulder blades down, chest lift. Now I can really feel my upper back. Our hands are going to stay here, or you could put your hands back here on your sacrum. This shoulder position is a little harder, but actually I can feel my chest better in this position. All right, so we're going to keep our knees pushing out on the strap, and then we're going to fold. Just nice and slow. So we're inhaling, sternum forward, exhaling, fold the sit bones. Push the chest out and fold. Push the chest out and fold. A couple more. Push the chest out and fold. Now pull the knees in just a little bit off of the strap and try to feel a line from the inside of your knee pull back into your hip sockets. And you might be able to feel a little bit more of a fold. So you squeeze in a bit and then pull the insides of both knees back along that inner thigh line to your hip sockets. Keep folding. It's hard to keep your chest once you get, a little bit lower than this. We're going to just keep folding and feeling those hips. Couple more breaths. And then release your hands down. Stretch your legs to straight. Now, roll the toes in and the heels out. Press against the strap. Pull your quads up. And try to fold your pelvis a little bit more. Now, on this round, hands are either on the floor or on the block. They're out in front of your feet, good 1.5 feet. And then you're going to take your sternum and you're going to push it forward. And then as you feel your hips start to let go, you can let your torso go down a little bit. Or you can move your hands back if you want. Keep your kneecaps lifted. You got to keep paying attention to that. Keep pushing out on the strap. As you push out on the strap, you should be able to feel the outside of your hips a little bit more. And you might even really feel a way to pull your pelvis more into your thighs. And then return the feet to neutral. Unstrap yourself. And then we're going to bend our knees and we're going to come down into a parallel squat. If your legs can't do this, then just sit on your couch or just sit down and fold over. What we're doing here is we're just relaxing into our joints. So my heels aren't down because I can't do that. But we are just folding over. The knees can come open a bit. And you're just folding over your legs. Drop your head. Relax your ankles. Relax your hips. Relax your knees. Not going to be here very long. And then rock yourself forward, knees down, and then just come to sitting. All right. Just sit there a minute. Feels good. So all the work that we're doing in every piece of this is used in all the other pieces. So this feeling of the inside of that knee pulling back through the inner thigh line to the hip socket, that's going to be really important here in standing balances, but it's also really important in the lunges. So we're going to just do a little bit of that work today. Have your bolster ready, and some of you might need a block. I am so thirsty today. All right, step your right leg forward, and you want your knee right over your ankle, right? You want your chest on that thigh, hands either on the floor, or if you can't reach, you can have a block here. Now what I want you to feel is that knee, that right knee needs to pull a little bit to the inside, and then you need to pull that line, that same line, back into your socket. So I'm taking my right knee, pulling it to the inside, taking the inside of the thigh and pulling it back into the pelvis. You can also feel like your pelvis is pulling off of the leg. So feel that in the socket. Just tuck your back toe under and stretch that leg to straight. So pull the quad up. If you feel like your butt is going high towards the ceiling, just stretch your leg back behind you. Now push from your front foot into your hip to your back foot, just like you did in the wall sit, and then take your hands off the ground. You can put them here, under here, whatever, just so that you're not using them to balance. And we're just going to push from our front foot to our back foot, but I want you to feel that inner thigh line the whole time. So pushing through the back leg. I really like this because I love this feeling, this deep hip flexion in the right leg. So just a couple more seconds here, and then what we're going to do is drop that back knee and then just change, because we want to just feel the socket right now. So again, left foot is forward, the ankle is right underneath your knee, you feel that shin perpendicular, your chest is down on your thigh. Now you're going to take that knee, pull it to the inside, and then pull the inside of the knee back into the hip socket. And what you feel is the same thing as if you pull the hip back off of the leg. But what this is, when you pull the inside line back, you get a little bit more of your inner thigh in your brain. Then tuck your back toe, push it to straight, and push from the front leg to the back leg. You gotta push. And then take your hands off and balance, and keep sinking into that front hip socket. Left knee is pulling to the right and pulling back into the socket. Feel that nice deep flexion. Pushing through. And then put that knee down and reach this leg back. All right. You can tuck the toe under and stretch that leg if you want, or not. Now I just want you to sit back on your legs. All right. So we're doing two-legged work mostly. Switching now to one-legged work. We're going to do that again. And then we're going to transition into a little bit of a straddle stretch. But before we do that, what I want you to do is open your knees. Toes together. Open your knees and sit back. If you can't sit all the way back, then come up a little bit. Hands down. Just feel, and now we're going to go forward and back. Just feel your inner thigh. Some of you won't feel anything in the inner thigh, but you might feel a little bit of movement that's either pleasant or unpleasant in the hip sockets. All right, I feel my inner thigh, one pull on my left side. So something is going on. So what I want you to do though, is we have all of this pelvic motion that we've been working on. So I want you to take your tailbone, tuck it under, and then reach it back. Tuck it under and reach it back. I'm going to turn sideways. So we're here, we're going to tuck it under and reach it back. And pull it forward and fold it. So we're pushing the pelvis back, and then we're pushing the pelvis forward, and we're pulling the tailbone under, and we're reaching it to the back, and we're pulling it under, and we're reaching it to the back, and just one more, and we're pulling it under, and we're reaching it to the back. All right, pull the legs back in, sit. So just to get a little bit of awareness, into those sockets. All right, so some of you might need your bolster on this, and if you need it, throw it to the front of your mat. So we're going to step that right leg forward. Just where we were. Knees over your ankle. Pull that knee to the inside and then pull the inside of that knee back into the socket. Tuck your back toe under. Stretch to straight. Feel the hip. And then we're going to immediately go to a straight front leg. Now, some of you might have to come up onto this block. Right? Or if you have your bolster handy, you can put your hands on the bolster, all right? We're looking for a nice flat back, and you're also looking for the inside of that right knee to pull back and into your socket, and then that will send that left hip rolling forward so that your pelvis is level and your left hip is not lifted up to the ceiling. We want that nice square pelvis. Now, sometimes what I like to feel here is if my leg was a piece of wood and it's immobile, pull that quad up, then take your pelvis and push your pelvis onto that leg. And you can feel that hip go nice and deep, and you can feel, of course, that hamstring stretch. So we're just going to lengthen the chest. Reach that back heel towards the ground. Get a nice calf stretch. Push that out. Couple more breaths here. Now, wherever you are, try to take your hands to right above your knee and push out. So, or you could have no arms. So you're really trying to take the load off of the hands and just push it into the chest. You'll have to push more into your back leg. You can hold on if you want. Keep the foot even, so you're rolling that whole leg to the inside. You feel that knee, you feel the 3 points of the feet. You know, and as you're holding, you're going to feel your glute and hamstring stretch just a little bit more. And then hands down, knee down, and sit back. Actually, why we're sitting back is because after that you can feel this nice drop of the right side. So just hang out there a couple of breaths. And then we're going to step our left leg forward and do that nice hamstring stretch on that side. So my knee starts over the ankle. I'm pulling it to the inside. I'm pulling the inside back and into my socket. Tuck the back toe under. Press to straight. Push that front leg to straight if you can. Pull the quad up. If you can't pull your quad up, then you need to keep your knee a little bent. So this quad needs to stay nice and tight. Now when your hands are on something, it's not as crucial, right? Because a lot of the weight now is on my hands, so it's not just jamming back into my knee. So you always want to feel like you're pushing out into that front leg, feeling the pelvis push onto that leg. Breathe and push. Feel the weight on the foot, 3 points. Base of the big toe, base of the little toe, inside of the heel. Now, transition. Keep pushing onto that leg from the back leg. All right, you're gonna put that right knee down and move that left leg and sit back. Just into the sockets, feel the sockets. Only gonna be here a couple seconds. All right, now we're gonna come up to a straddle position. And I'm going to move this bolster. Some of you will need this. So you're going to turn your feet so that the outside edges from the little toe to the heel are parallel to the outside of your mat. And then I want you to wiggle your feet open until you can get your hands down. And then actually try to turn the toes in a bit. Now, rock yourself back and forth. There's a lot of motion here, back and forth. Now pull your quads up and press through the balls of your feet. So that's the position that you're looking for. Relax your feet, relax your quads, and then let yourself drift back onto your heels. I'm going to turn sideways for this, for just this rocking thing. All right, so if I let my quads go, just loose, and I rock back, you know, my quads are gone, and I'm just really kind of pushing into the back of my leg. Now, if my hands are down on the ground, it's not that big of a deal in terms of safety of your knee, but if you're doing a forward bend and you're constantly dropping back, then what's happening is you're not really stretching what you want to stretch because your hamstrings are just basically trying to keep you from falling on your butt. All right, so We're here, our toes are turning in, and then pull your quads up and press through the balls of your feet. Now, if you're pressing through the balls of your feet, you should feel like you can almost take your sit bones up to the ceiling. Not almost, but you can feel your pelvis fold a little bit. That's what we're looking for, that feeling of fold, that feeling of pushing into your legs. So you feel this straddle. Now what I want you to do is just creep it open a little bit more. And again, push through the balls of the feet, pull the quads up. See if you could open it just a little bit more. Push through the balls of the feet, pull your quads up, and then see if you can get your elbows on the ground. If you can't, grab your bolster and put your elbows on your bolster. Now we're just going to relax here. So now I want you to just relax your legs. So we're not going to do the pushing and the pulling because so much of your body weight is now just on your elbows. So we're just going to hang out here. Of course, if the inside of your leg feels like it can't take this because it's too much of a stretch, you're going to need to pull your feet closer together and use the bolster. But if you're good here, it just feels good. And we're going to hold this stretch for about a minute or two. Now, come on back up. Wiggle your feet in a little bit. And then we're going to bend both knees a little. Just feel that little squat. And stretch them up. And again, bend both knees. And stretch them up. And again, pull your sit bones back, chest forward, folding at the hips. Push it up. And bend the knees. This time, put your elbows on your knees. Flatten your back out. Now, push your knees towards your little toes. Keep your chest parallel to the ground. And then just feel the inner thigh. It's opening. The hip sockets are opening. Just breathe. Your weight's held up partially by your elbows. You have a nice flat back. Your chest is reaching forward. Just let that open. And then, hands down, stretch the legs to straight, and then rotate them in. Just in, out, in, out, in, out. Lift the sit bones. Feel your forward bend. Lift the kneecaps, lift the sit bones. Feel your back go nice and long, and then coming down to the sit. Relax into the sockets. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. That's the end of week 2. I hope you enjoy the beautiful sunshine. Thank you for your support, and namaste.